All right, we're about to get started. If you are joining us over on YouTube, you'll look in the chat. You'll find a couple things. There's some class notes there for you. You can download them, follow along, take notes with what we're going to get into tonight. And there's also a Zoom link that you can join the live Zoom call. So if you happen to be watching live, it's March 29th, 2023, 7 p.m. If you're watching live, I encourage you to join me over here on Zoom. After the class is over, we'll cut the YouTube feed and we'll stick around for a few minutes and probably 8:15 and dig into these topics a little bit more so we can talk as a group and hopefully sharpen each other and try to apply these even to another level. So we'll get started here in just a second. All right, welcome everybody to another Increase class. I'm Blake Anderson, and it's just a pleasure to be here with you. I so enjoy teaching these classes. I hope you're finding value from them. If you're catching midstream since the class started, I hope you'll go back and watch. These classes have been building on each other in such a great way, and I feel like the one leads to the other, and we're putting just a foundation of success underneath us if we'll apply these concepts. You know, in this class, Increase, we like to say that we take spiritual principles and learn to apply them so that we can get natural results. And really, we're looking for those natural results that the Bible promises. If you've read your Bible, you know that there's some bold statements that are made in there. It's not just a book of rules, it's a book of promises. If you'll do these things, then you should expect these results. And these things are often spiritual principles, and they're throughout. And so we're really looking at what are those spiritual principles that the Bible talks about and how do we apply them so we can get those results that it promises. We call those in the Bible, they're called blessings. And don't we all want to be blessed? I know I do. And it's been kind of a lifelong search of mine to discover these principles, to seek the blessing of the Lord, to find out what it means to be blessed of the Lord. So thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to jump in. We're at step 3 of the biblical leadership blueprint. So if you haven't joined us for step 1 and 2, you can go back and watch the replays on YouTube. But we're step 3 of the biblical leadership blueprint, and that's prepare the road or the plan. And so we get the biblical leadership blueprint from a verse in Isaiah, chapter 57, verse 14. This was taught to me by a mentor, Colonel in the Air Force, Tom Capps, author, great man of God. And he said he found the verse that he believes spoke to leadership more than any other verse in the Bible. And as I've applied these to my life and the businesses I've been associated with, I've seen increase. And I hope that as you digest this Bible verse and we look into how to apply it, that you'll take this spiritual principle and increase your life as well. So let's reread this Bible verse so we see where's this blueprint come from and what is the biblical leadership blueprint. Isaiah 57:14 says, and it will be said, build up, prepare the road, remove the obstacles out of the way of my people. So there's 4 things here: build up, prepare the road, remove the obstacles out of the way of my people. So this is a 4-step process for a holistic leadership blueprint. And hopefully after learning all 4 steps, you'll begin to feel empowered to start to lead others and hopefully move things in your life further down the field. As I've said many times in this class, that leadership is essential to Increase. You will never do anything truly great on your own. It will be done with the company of others. It will be done as a team. And advancing causes and working as a team takes leadership. You know that we've also taught in this class that you can lead from wherever you are. Leadership is not a positional thing. We oftentimes think of it as positional, but leadership, as John Maxwell defined it, is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Maxwell says if you don't have influence, you'll never be able to lead others. And isn't that true? We've all had bosses over us one time or another who had the title leader, but had no influence. We did not trust them to make decisions for us, and therefore we did not submit to their leadership. So if we want to be able to lead others, we've got to have trust built with them. We've got to have influence with them. They need to trust where we are taking them, trust the decisions that we are making on their behalf. And we can do that from anywhere. You can do that as a mom. You can do it as a dad. You can do it as an employee. You can lead your coworkers. You can lead your direct reports, and you can even lead up the chain of command and lead your boss. So there's ways to lead right where you are, because we all are leaders. And when you begin to understand the importance of leadership and the importance of your team, you know that people are a leader's most valuable asset. Your most valuable asset are the people around you, because they are truly the people that makes things happen. Even if you have all the money in the world, the money in and of itself will never get anything done. The money can buy other people's time, but it will still be people that will be your greatest asset when you have a project that you're trying to advance forward, or there's success or goal that you're after. Okay. So as we're developing our influence with others, we're growing in our leadership. In order to really have that influence and get people to say yes to us, we've got to get what we call buy-in. People have to be bought in. They have to agree. They have to say, yes, I will go with you. And really, you'll see that the first 3 steps of the leadership blueprint are about getting that buy-in. Because what you have to understand with people is fast is slow and slow is fast. If you try to rush something on people, you try to rush a decision, you try to skip steps because you're in a hurry, the fast way, the shortcut, will end up slowing you down. Because if everyone on the team is not completely bought in to the project that you're working on and the place that you're going, eventually someone will want to slow down or stop or get nervous. They'll dig their heels in and say, whoa, I'm not ready yet. But if you'll take the time to cultivate your influence, to get the buy-in from all the team, it feels slow. Sometimes it takes an extra meeting. It takes an extra week. It takes an extra month. It takes more people involved. But if you'll get all the buy-in, when all the hearts are united and everybody's ready and on the same page, you can do incredible things and you can accomplish them quickly. You can get to destinations fast when everybody is pushing in the same direction all at once, and it takes buy-in. So don't forget, with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. And so these first 3 steps, if you'll embrace them and really apply them into your leadership toolkit, you'll start to get influence with people. And the slow work of building that influence, you'll have buy-in where you can start recruiting people to your teams and accomplishing more things. So quick review. Step 1 is build up your people. The first step a leader's got to do, they've got to build up their people. We build up our people by empathizing with them. We get down on their level. We see eye to eye with where they're at. We build up our people by encouraging them, by giving them confidence, by recognizing them for the gifts that they have and the value that they bring to our team. And we build up our people by equipping them. A leader has to take time to equip people, to get them properly trained into a new role, to maybe help them learn a new software, or to help them assimilate to the rest of the team and how everyone fits together. If you're like me, I was a part of a team once. I joined a new team that was full of really talented people, but they never seemed to get anything done. They never seemed to hit their deadlines. They weren't equipped with a process and a system that helped them work together. And so one of the first tasks that I had when I was asked to become a leader on that team is I needed to empathize with them. They had to know I was new. Though I was the leader, I was new. I needed to be on their level and they needed to trust me. I needed to encourage them. They needed to know that they were valued and I recognized the value they brought to the team. And then I had to equip them with new software, with new process, with new ways of doing things so that we could all relate and work well together. So the first step a leader has to do is you always are building up your people. Now that's the first step, whether you're starting a new team, first step, whether you're joining a new company. The first step, whether you're running a meeting or maybe you're just having a face-to-face one-on-one with the team member, the first thing you want to do is you want to build up that person. Okay. Before you do anything else, we're getting their buy-in. We're getting influence with them. We're getting connected. The second step that a leader's got to do is they've got to build up the process. Now, I can only go so deep in this tonight. And so go back and watch the other steps so that you can dive deep into these steps, because there's much more to it. I'm just skimming the surface, but a leader's got to build up the process. It's up to the leader to create a framework or a process or a way of doing business where the team is able to relate together. Oftentimes, the mistake people made, I referred to it earlier, is we attract and we get a bunch of people excited to work together, and we just tell them, go do something. Just do something. Just do whatever, do your thing. And that's not quite enough. And you can get someone super excited through building them up to want to conquer the world and run after the vision, but they'll stall out really quick if they're not given a process. If they're not given a framework to work within, if they haven't taken the time to really understand what success looks like and what the roles are and who's responsible for what and what are the deadlines and what's the way in which we're going to communicate. So this is the project management framework. I can't get into it right now, but watch step 2. This is a framework that I've used to build companies. I've used to build houses. I've used to build teams. It works no matter where you apply it. And it is a framework that can bring people of different gifts, of different talents, all together to identify what success looks like and run after it in a team, and you will see success if you'll apply that framework that was taught in step 2. So you've built up your people, you've built up their process, you gave them a way to work together, and now everyone knows how to communicate and start working. And you're ready for step number 3, which is the Bible verse says, prepare the road. What we're talking about tonight is laying out the plan. So you're almost ready to go somewhere. You're almost ready to build some things, but not yet. Now, after tonight, if you'll add these first 3 steps together, you'll be able to get buy-in with your team, and you'll actually be able to start marching down the field and leading them into successful things. So let's dig into step 3, prepare the road. So the final way that we achieve buy-in, we've got to lay out the plan. People on your team need to know, where are we going? What's the goal? What's the result of our effort? How do we know when we've achieved success? Like, what are we all committing to? So it's really kind of a 4-step process to lay out the plan. And I got these steps written behind me. Again, notes will be in the description and in the chat of the video. And so step 1, when you lay out the plan, when you're preparing the road, when you're making it a path for your team to move forward together, the first thing you've got to do as a leader is you've got to cast the vision. Okay. They need to know where you're going and what success will look like when they get there. And so the Bible really gives us wisdom on the importance of casting vision. And Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Okay. Where there's no vision, the people perish. It doesn't mean the people die, but basically what it says is, where there's no vision, and that vision is prophetic vision. It's a destination point. When people don't know where they're going to wander astray. Instead of perish, they'll go unrestrained. They'll wander astray. So what a shame to bring some really talented people together who get really excited about your cause, but without the right vision, they wander astray. Or they end up starting fighting against each other, or they're working against each other, or they're working on things that don't seem to work and fit, and they get done with all this hard work, and it doesn't really add up to get us where we're trying to get to. So before you launch them into the project, you've got to do these steps, okay? You got to start by casting that vision. They've got to know, where are we going? How will we know when we get there? And part of casting that vision is you're getting them excited about the goal, about what's possible, about this cause that's greater than themselves, okay? Step 2, when we prepare the road, is we want to create the plan. So we know where we're trying to get to, but you as a leader need to lay out a plan to take us from where we're at today to get us to our future. Now, a lot of that you will do if you do the framework that we laid out in step 2. So that's a process, but that also can be the bones and the structure of the plan that you create, right? But it's the leader's job to create the plan. It should not be tasked to another team member to create the plan. Whoever's responsibility for the success is needs to take responsibility for the plan. And you know the old adage, when you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So there's another great Bible verse that speaks about the importance of having a plan, and that's Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. And it says, write the vision, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Write the vision, make it plain, that he may run that readeth it. So another way that we would apply this context is write the plan, and write the plan in a clear way that everyone can understand it. So when everyone on the team can see the plan, that they can run with it and that they're running in the right direction. Keith Cunningham says there's nothing worse than running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. And if you don't take the time to cast the vision or create the plan, often people in your team will run enthusiastically in the wrong direction. Maybe they're not running backwards, but if they're just 1 degree off over a long distance, they won't get there. So it's your job as a leader, take the responsibility to create the plan. Now, great leaders will bring their team together. They'll work some of that together, but it's still your job as the leader to take responsibility for the plan and make sure that everyone on the team is very clear about what that plan is and about what their role inside that plan is and how we're going to work together. They're not all going to just work with you. They might be working with each other and you're not around, but you might be responsible for their success. So I'll say this probably multiple times tonight, but as a leader, your success is in the hands of your team members, and their success is your responsibility. Okay? Your success is in their hands, and their success is your responsibility. And so you do that by casting the vision, and you create the plan, you lay it out, you give them a way to run with it. So after you've done that, comes step number 3, which is to blaze the trail. A leader has got to take responsibility for getting out front of everything. You see, people do what they see you do, not what they hear you say to do, right? You're setting an example as a leader. And so in order to get your team off on the right foot, then you've got to take the lead in that effort, okay? Oftentimes that means you've got to go first. Sometimes that means you need to be the first one in the office, and likely you're going to be the last one to leave, okay? You're going to be expected to blaze the trail, because if you just give people marching orders and assignments and you tell them, shoo, shoo, and then you go do something else, and they see that you're not working, how long do you think they're going to continue to work hard on your project if you're not joining in? Or if they don't see you putting in the same hours that they are, or they don't feel like you've got the same commitment towards getting there? They're going to feel like you've abdicated your responsibility. So like it or not, the leader's got to be the first one out of the foxhole charging towards the battlefield. And really blazing the trail for everyone to follow. So you cast a vision, we're going up over the hill. The plan is we're going to go through these trees. We're going to go up this trail. Now you've got to be running in front of them, blazing the trail and setting an example that they can follow. So I'll tell a story. This is often hard when you're the leader. In my first business, what was tough, I started hiring employees, and I was young, and some of the guys were older than me. And it was a construction business. And for a while there, I would work on site with the guys with my tools. But what I realized was they didn't understand it if I had to leave in the middle of the day to go to a meeting. And they never fully appreciated the fact that I had to stay up late doing proposals. because all they knew, if there was a time of the day when they were sweating it out and I wasn't there, that they were doing the hard work to make me rich. And it wasn't true. You know, the thing that I couldn't share with them is I get up at 6 a.m. so I could be at the lumber yard by 7 when they opened. So by the time they showed up at the job at 8, all the materials on site. And when they left at 4:30 to go home and take a shower and hang out with their friends and family, I was going to the office to write proposals. So your team will not see all the hard work that goes into being a leader, but you have no choice. They've got to see you blazing the trail if you expect them to follow you. All right, so you've cast the vision. We know where we're going. Here's the plan to get there, and we're all bought in. And you start blazing the trail as a leader, and you're showing them the way you're going, and they're following you. Now, the final thing that you need to do when you're preparing the road and you're getting that buy-in from your team is you've got to show them the future. You see, for people to stay bought in and on your team for long periods of time, they've got to know that what's in it for them. What's the future hold for them? What's the reward if we get there? And because if you can show your team a compelling future for them, if they'll help you accomplish that goal, then they will be committed and they will be loyal to you and they'll help you get there. You know, there's a couple Bible verses that shed light on this need that we have to see our future. And we normally read these Bible verses in terms of ourselves, but I want you to read these Bible verses in terms of a leader that's trying to motivate a team. From the leader standpoint, that's trying to get a team to commit or be bought into the project. And so some of these two Bible verses are very familiar, but I want you to think of them through a different lens. And the first one is Jeremiah chapter 29:11. Super popular verse. Probably you have it memorized. And it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end." Now, if you're like me, you've taken comfort in that verse when you wondered, what's going to be my future? And you're praying to God, God, is there a future for me? Will it be good? What can I expect to happen in the end? And it's that verse that brought you comfort to know that God had a plan for your life. Well, see, as a leader, your followers need to know that you have a plan for them. They need to know that there's an expected end for them, that you're planning good things, that if you help them succeed, if they help you succeed, then there's a reward and a future in it for them, okay? Maybe you're starting a business and you're recruiting your first employees. They need to know, if I put in these long hours, that as the company grows, I get to grow. Isn't that what we're all looking for when we get a new job and we commit to a new company? Like, what's the environment here? Is there ability for me to grow? If I excel at what I'm doing, can I get a promotion? Right? Well, your followers and your team members, even if they're your coworkers, are thinking the same thing. If we get there, what's in it for me? Is there a reason for me to commit here? So that Bible verse again says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end." So your followers need to know that you have an expected end and that you have good in mind for them if they'll commit to help you get there. Another Bible verse that I've used to take comfort in similar times in my life is Proverbs 13:12. And Proverbs 13:12 says that hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when desire cometh, it is a tree of life. And I've used that to comfort me when I've gone through frustrating times. But see, we as leaders, we've got to know that whether our people succeed or not, that's our responsibility. The success of your people is your responsibility, and their commitment level to your project is also somewhat your responsibility. You've got to keep them bought in, right? So we do that through the step one of the blueprint that you can watch the replay of the video on YouTube. We do that by empathizing with them, by encouraging them and equipping them, but we also do that by showing them a future, right? So we have to embrace this Bible verse that tells us about the human heart. Now, we think about this in terms of our relationship with God, but we leaders got to understand our followers have emotions and feelings the same. So we have to know that if our follower feels like their hope, their desire, their goals, their rewards are being deferred, their heart's going to get sick, which means they're going to lose their commitment and they're not going to be as excited to continue your project. But we know this, the Bible verse says that when the desire cometh, it's a tree of life. So when we get what we want, we achieve that goal, it's life-giving to us. So it's our job as leaders to show a future to our team, because it's going to be life-giving. The hope of a reward, the hope of achieving something great is motivating. And then the thought that we would get there and that desire would cometh is motivating. And we need to show them that if we can get there together, that we're going to reap the rewards together. So let's do a quick recap of preparing the road. Your third step as a leader, okay? So hopefully by now, if you're in a meeting or you're starting a new team, you've done step one, you built up your people, right? You've encouraged them, you've empathized with them, you've equipped them for success. You've done step two, you created a process. You've put a framework together for how y'all are going to work together to achieve great things. And in step three, you've created a plan for them to succeed and for everyone to move forward. And that you prepare that road and that plan by first casting that vision, sharing with them what success is going to look like so that they don't go astray. As Proverbs 29:18 says, you've created a plan that's clear, that Habakkuk 2 says that it's clear, it's easy to understand, and everybody knows what we're responsible for, that'll get us from here to there, so that when they read it, they can run with it. They don't just run with it once, they run with it every day. They can look at that plan and run. That you as the leader, that your followers and your team members seeing you running out front, blazing the trail for them to follow, inspiring them with your actions and with your dedication. And all along the way, continuing to show them that there's a future for them, that there's a reward when we get there, that there's a success for us all to share. Now, if you'll do those three things, then you'll have influence in your team, with your team, which means you're a leader. You'll have buy-in from your team members, which means they're committed to you. And then you'll be ready to start going places. You'll be ready to see increase, not just for yourselves, but for those around you. And if you start bringing increase through a team and your team members start increasing because of your leadership, they're going to continue to want to join you with greater and greater projects. And you'll see your influence grow, and you'll see the increase grow that comes into your life. So join me next week for step 4 of the biblical leadership blueprint, as we put what I think is really the secret sauce of leadership. It's rarely taught, but it's a unique skill that if you'll do this, you'll begin to see even greater results. And that's to remove the obstacles out of the way of my people. Join me next week on Wednesday. All right, YouTube, we're going to cut the feed. Thanks, folks on Zoom. Hang around and we'll have that